AI is the single biggest opportunity and single biggest distraction of our time. I have watched businesses literally go out of business because they were so distracted by the possibilities that are AI. It made me come up with Dr. Una's 5 laws of the profitable use of AI. Now, I'm not knocking AI in any kind of way. I use AI a lot. In fact, in Claude, I have 19 projects set up in Claude, and they all have names. They're like my employees. They're absolutely amazing. And so I use it, but I'm very aware that it could be a huge advantage or it could be a huge disadvantage. It could be a huge opportunity or it could be a huge distraction. And I want you to one, not be left behind because you didn't embrace AI at all. And then two, I don't want you to be so distracted that you destroy everything that is and lose your way because you're all into AI. Okay. So this is something that I teach a lot in the EntreMD Business School. Every time I talk about AI, I start with, okay, let's talk about the profitable use of AI, right? And in fact, for us, we don't teach AI. We teach what we teach, then we show them how to leverage AI to do that even better, right? So, anyway, let's talk about these 5 laws, okay? Because I am an AI enthusiast of sorts, but I'm also very careful, very, very careful. So, the first law is it must serve the vision. Like your use of AI must be something that serves your vision. With your business, you are and will always be the visionary. You are the visionary behind it. You define the direction, you define the mission of it, you define the results you want it to create, the feel you want it to have. This is all you. So, for instance, for EntreMD, I am on a mission. My mission is to help 100,000 doctors build profitable businesses so they have the freedom to live life and practice medicine on their terms. I have another mission to help 1,000 doctors make their first or next 7 figures in revenue, right? Because we want to make 7 figures the new floor for physician entrepreneurs. I will know the way I want it to feel when people come through our programs. I want them to be able to feel most alive, like they found themselves and they're walking in their purpose and they're building these businesses and they have their lives back. They're honoring what they truly want, right? I want them to feel respected and valued and things are the opposite of what they have in the physician community. I don't like the idea of people being put down, or so there's certain things I will never say in my marketing, even though these are things that are, proven things that work. I just will not do it because of the feel I want it to have. I'm always going to look for the simplest path. This is always. So I'm not going to bring complex things. In fact, I will take complex things and I'll take months and months and months and look for how to make it the simplest version ever. So when I present it to you, like, that's it. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. Like, these are things, I'm the visionary. These things cannot come, they don't come from AI, they come from me. Okay, so I am the visionary. And then AI is like an implementer, or AI is like a team member. They're there to support me, to support the vision, to help me get it done, and all of those things. But I never relinquish my visionary role to an AI tool. And why do I say that? Because I have seen people go to ChatGPT and is like, what goals should I pursue for whatever? That is not a ChatGPT thing. That is a you thing. Because the most beautiful life is a life where you come to the end of your life and you're like, I did exactly what I wanted to do. I lived in alignment with who I think I am. My business was in alignment with the results I think I'm here to create in the world. In fact, when you study people close to death, and they talk about the 5 main regrets, one of the biggest regrets is people are like, I didn't live in alignment with who I thought I was. Like, I didn't really show up like who I was. I didn't really do what I thought I was here to do or what I wanted to do or whatever. I was kind of living up to other people's expectations. Now, living up to the people's expectations, one thing, living up to AI's expectation, like, come on now, right? And so when it comes to direction, right, you are the visionary. You are never to relinquish that. And this is the thing. It doesn't matter what you ask AI. For the most part, it will give you a very eloquent, beautiful answer, right? And so if you ask it for direction, it will give you direction. But you see, your direction comes from you. So even with entrepreneurship. People may ask me, like, what kind of business should I do? I don't know the answer to that question, because it's like, what kind of business do you want to do? What kind of results do you want to create? Who do you want to spend your life working with? Like, I'm spending my life working with physicians. I am spending my life helping them build dream businesses and dream lives. And I love what I do. I'm in full alignment with what I want to do. Right. And so you do not give this away. Okay. So AI is an amazing employee and a terrible boss. Do not make it your boss. And so what that means is, maybe you've adopted the mindset that you can then do lazy thinking. Like, you don't have to think about where it is you want to go. You don't have to sit to think about how do you want your business to look. You would like, I'm giving all that up. No, no, no. Not with the profitable use of AI, because you're going to end up with a company, and you can end up with a great company. You could end up with a lot of great things, but not in alignment with who you are. Okay. And one of the sources of peace and quiet and joy is being there. Like in EntreMD, you'd have heard me say, I have never worked in EntreMD. And I've never worked in EntreMD because I am doing, like, I come alive in it because I'm doing what I need to do, what I'm called to do, what I'm wired to do. Right. Okay. So we do not give that up. And so what that also means is, when you're brainstorming, because do I brainstorm vision and strategy and all of those things with AI? Absolutely. Okay. Now, when I do that, I still hold the tool accountable to taking me in the direction of my vision and my goal. And so if it comes up with something and it's so nice, it's so nicely arranged, it has all the charts, it has all those things, but it's not in alignment with the vision, I'm like, yeah, I redirect it. I'm not afraid to do that because I am the visionary. Okay. So profitable use of AI starts with, it must serve the vision. That's the first law. Okay. The second law is, it must generate an ROA. So, ROI, return on investment. It must generate a return on attention. Okay. And I say this because chances are, if you are going to get really good at using any AI tool, chances are you're going to need to go down a rabbit hole, right? So, and my brother and I, we are both AI enthusiasts. So it's very funny. And, I'd send him a message. I'm like, hey, so what's going on? He's, oh yeah, I'm good. I just found this thing, and I'm jumping, head first into this rabbit hole. I'm like, may the force be with you. And I do the same thing too, right? And so whether that is using Claude Cowork, or whether that is, for him using Claude Code, or like whatever it is, if you're going to be really good at using the tool, chances are you're going to do a bit of a deep dive. Now, that is not a problem. That is not a problem as long as you do it in such a way that you're getting a return on attention. So there is something I see people do where they say, oh, I'm just learning AI. And like, why are you learning AI? Like, first of all, 90% of the things that you're learning are going to be relevant in a matter of weeks and sometimes days. I mean, they built Claude Cowork, which is a powerful tool, in 10 days, and they use Claude to build Claude Cowork. You know what I mean? Like, and so the changes are happening so rapidly. So just learning to learn is such a waste of time, right? Because as you're learning, it's becoming obsolete. Okay. And so for me, the way I look at it is, I do not learn AI. I leverage AI. These are two completely different things. So I would then say, okay, I'm going to learn how to do this with AI. And I've already calculated what the potential return would be. Okay, so let me backtrack a little bit and say this. One of the principles I live by is, I try to spend 80% of my time doing 20% activities. So I spend 80% of my time doing the highest level activities that move the needle forward in my business. Okay. Now, I left the 20% of time so that if I want to do some 80% things, I just want to blow time, I can do it. It's my choice. Okay. Now, in there, can I say I'm playing around with AI, whatever? Yes. But I want you to understand this. You are the CEO of your company. Okay. And if you are running a $2 million business, or you're trying to take your business, let's say you're trying to take your business to 2 million, it means that you need to show up as the CEO of a $2 million company today, right? And start acting that way so you can create the result. Okay. If you want to calculate your hourly rate, think of it as annual revenue or annual income divided by 2,000. Okay. So if you're building a $2 million company, it means that your hourly rate is $1,000. I need you to understand this. It's $1,000. Okay. So if that's the case, if you are going to take 3 days to go down a rabbit hole, Okay. So 3 days, let's say that 8 hour days, $8,000 a day, $24,000 for the 3 days. If you are going to do that, you want to make sure that on the other side of this discovery that you're doing with AI is something that has the potential to generate 24,000, 48,000, 96,000, and so on and so forth. Otherwise, if you're just learning it just for fun, the question I would ask you is if you employed a CEO and that CEO took 3 days to just sit and kind of loaf around and kind of play around with AI and say, oh, this tool is intriguing. What are you going to do with it? Oh, I don't know, but it's so fascinating where the world is going. Will you tolerate that? Would you pay that person $24,000 to do that? If you won't, stop it. Because you're the CEO and it doesn't matter what you pay yourself. This is the way you need to show up to hit the goals that you want to hit. So what that means is before you go down the rabbit hole, you want to look at what the potential ROI is, right? Okay, so I'll give you a few instances. So for me, I am a talker. I'm a deep thinker and a talker, not as much of a writer. So I write, but I think so fast that sometimes writing is frustrating for me, right? Because I just cannot, and I write fast, but I cannot write fast enough to keep up with my mind. And so one of the things I did was to train a Claude project to write in my voice. Okay. So that was a bit of a project and it cost me quite a bit of time, like to pull that off. So it comes out like me. Right. And I'm not talking about AI vomit. Okay. If you've read AI vomit, you know it and you hate it. Right. I'm not talking about AI vomit. Like I still have to I still need to dictate. So if I was using AI, for instance, to do a newsletter, I'm literally airing all my thoughts and organizing all of those things, but I'm dictating it, right? And it can take it and organize it the way I want. And it has like a library of my voice and can reproduce it in my voice. So I'm not delegating my voice because my voice is powerful and my voice changes lives. Okay. Okay. But I have a copywriter, right? I have a copywriter. Now, if I did that, well, I could do the math and we'll come to this, a little later. But an average copywriter could be anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 a month. A great copywriter, I mean, could be anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 a month. So is there an ROA on what I'm doing? Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. And maybe it's even how do I create all these projects so they can do different things? Like they're all housed there. And I'm like, okay, going down that rabbit hole. But I know when I do that, I have a copywriter for my, I did copyrights for 3 of my companies. I have a slide generator. He's called Sly, the slide generator. I have an analyst. I have all these kind of things. And I build that up knowing that now I have ROA. Like these are all going to create results for me. So I'm not wasting my time. I have a laser focus and I'm doing what I need to do. Okay. So that's the first thing. So remember you're a CEO, you have an hourly rate. You can calculate it based on what your revenue goal is, what revenue goal you're working on. And if you would not pay anybody that amount of money to just sit around and do nothing, then don't do it with your 20% time. Right? You can do it with the little time that you have, to just waste time if you want. Okay. So that's number 2. That's the second law. The third law is it must get you results faster, right? So this is one of the ROAs is it could get you results faster. Okay. All right. So let me give you an example with an AI tool. And this is Whisper. And I like Whisper. In fact, I think I'm an affiliate for Whisper. You can do EntreMD.com/talk and you can use that link and sign up. You can do a free trial and then sign up for Whisper. And so Whisper is an application that you can use and just is talk to text. So you just talk and it does all the typing for you. And I find it very fascinating because you can have it on your phone, you can have it on your computer, and it works wherever your cursor can show up. Okay. And so what that means is, again, for Facebook posts, there's so many things I'd love to say in the comments. Like if someone asks a question, I want to answer it. I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't type all this stuff. In fact, let me tell you how much I don't want to type up all this stuff, right? Is sometimes people ask a question and I'm like, man, that's a lot of typing. I will literally go record a podcast episode and come put the link there. I'm that much of a talker. So anyway, so with Whisper, I can take my phone, whether it's WhatsApp, whether it's Facebook comments, Instagram comments, emails, in Claude, in ChatGPT, even though those have their native ones, but it's simple. I can just use that everywhere. So I legit don't have to type, right? Don't have to type at all. And it won't just vomit the thing back. If I talk about things and I'm I'm bullet pointing them, even if I don't say make a bullet point, it would like, number one, number two, number three, paragraphs, all of this kind of stuff. So it's really nicely done. And so I'm able to do that faster. I could come in Facebook comments, just hold my phone, and, and dictate all the stuff, and it's all there. And then on my computer, I just hit one button. So I have a Mac, so F9, just hit that, and I'm dictating and doing my thing. And so it saves me so much time. So much time. It helps me do stuff so much faster. There's so many other ways, right? So this is just a simple example because, for me, I really like it, right? So it saves me so much time. So looking at that, so I can get it set up, installed, all of those things. I'm like, is that perfect? It's perfect, right? Now, that's a very simple example. Of course, there's so many other things I can do faster with AI tools. And, Claude is one of my favorite go-to tools. But yeah. Okay, so it must help me do things faster. The fourth thing is it must help me do things cheaper. So I alluded to the example with a copywriter, right? Because now I could have paid $10,000 a month to have a great copywriter. Now, this would be somebody who would do my emails, who would do socials, who would do my landing pages, who would do my website for the workshops that we do, who would do the landing pages for those workshops, for my events, for my workbooks, for all of those things. I have that all programmed into AI, right? And so when I need copywriting done, I have the concept and all of that, and it can develop this. First of all, it does it a lot faster, right? And then it does it a lot cheaper because, yeah, granted, I have the max plan on Claude, so it's probably $100 a month or whatever, but $100 versus 10,000 a month, like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, this is a lot cheaper, okay? A lot cheaper. So it has to give me a lot cheaper. Otherwise, I'm not doing it, right? So it must serve the vision. It must give me an ROA. It must help me do things faster. It must help me do things cheaper. And again, I want to be very clear. I'm not talking about AI vomit. Okay. Maybe we need to talk about AI vomit on a different podcast episode because I hear people go like, I don't have to think anymore. I just tell Claude, give me this, and it gives me this. Okay. Now, for some people, that's okay. I will tell you why I cannot do that, right? So a little bit of a sidebar. My ideologies and philosophies and ways of thinking and ways of communicating and ways of breaking down complex things have led to the transformation of so many lives. Like, words are powerful. They're very powerful. And so in my communication, I cannot lose the power. I cannot end up with something that's soulless. Like, it's cute and it's a lot of words and it has nice pictures, but it's not really saying anything. It's not moving the needle. It's not changing any lives. I cannot have that. That is too expensive. I have no interest in it. Right. And so even with the use of AI as a copywriter, for instance, you want to make sure you are communicating what it is you truly want to say. You're communicating in a way to create transformation, right? Okay, so definitely not AI vomit at all. The same way you would treat it if you had an employee working with you on these copywriting projects and they would interview you, ask you questions, you go for it. Okay, so the fifth law, it must give me capacity I don't have. This is a fun one for me. It must give me capacity that I don't have. So I'll give you an example. I am not somebody who's big on research. Like, it wasn't a thing for me, right? Even as a physician, I'm like, yeah, that's nice. But there's some people who live by it, and that's so fun. And crunching data is not quite my thing, right? I know what I'm a genius at. I'm not a genius at that. Okay. Now, for me, what this has done is given me the opportunity to have a full-time data analyst on staff in EntreMD, and that's a Claude project, right? And I have collected data for years because I know I need the data, but I was not that good at crunching the data. Okay. And so imagine my shock when I did a survey for the doctors in the EntreMD Business School for 2025 to kind of get a feel for, where they are, how their revenue has grown, how different areas of their lives have been impacted. We talk about the dream business and the dream life, how much time they're able to take off and all of those things. And now I had somebody who could crunch the data. and pull out this report. It was the most beautiful report. I don't mean beautiful like aesthetics, but to be able to define the school in that way. Now, I've always said that the EntreMD Business School is like an alternate reality and all of those kind of things. But seeing it in data, like talking about revenue growing by 24 million, talking about the people who filled out the survey, 43% of them were pre-revenue. And at the end of the year, it was 15% of them that were still pre-revenue. The rest had moved on to different kinds of businesses. Now, pre-revenue will also include the people who are entrepreneurs. So it's not that their businesses didn't grow or anything like that. And I was like, wow, this is impressive. 35% of the doctors crossed $500,000 in revenue. Okay. 21% crossed $1 million in revenue. 10% crossed multiple seven figures in revenue. I mean, just looking at that. Now, this is capacity because I had collected these data points before. I had done this before, but I didn't have the capacity to crunch the data. Now I was able to crunch the data. Oh my goodness. It was so shocking that for a few weeks, I didn't tell anybody about the data. I was like, am I making this up? This is so crazy. But I mean, EBS is crazy. What happens in the inside, right? So I was just like, oh my goodness, this is unbelievable. So what did it do? It gave me capacity that I didn't have. One of the things I don't like doing, and this is simple and it's funny, but I don't like making slides. That is just not a thing for me. Because I'm like, because what I do is I take complex things and make it simple. It takes me an extraordinary amount of time to take a concept and break it down where a doctor who is business naive, if you will, and I say that respectfully, I don't mean that disrespectfully, just like they don't know business, they can take it and run with it. In fact, it's not unusual for people to implement the things that we talk about. And then 3 years later, they have all the results because they were doing it, even though they didn't fully understand it. But they're like, oh, Dr. Un, I see what you mean. Like 3 years later, right? Because we just make it simple. So to do all of that and then start figuring out how to make it look on a slide, I'm just like, please stop. Leave me alone. I'm done, right? So I have a slide generator. And so giving me capacity where I'm just, like I define all the things that I want. I'm a paper kind of girl. So I'm writing, I'm playing around with all this stuff. I take a screenshot, put it in there. And within 2 minutes, I have all the slides that I need. Boom, I'm ready to go. Right. So that's capacity that I didn't have. We built out a whole hiring system. So the people in the EntreMD Business School, they have an HR department. And it's AI, right? The way we analyze the resumes that come in and the way we create job descriptions and run it against the job description and analyze the references and analyze the interviews and all of these things and different parameters that we put in there, the level of detail and analysis that you can get. Now you're not just looking at the employee and using your gut check and not like you have all these other tools available. No, you're still going to use your gut, right? But because again, you're the visionary, you're the leader, right? But you have access to so much more. And we even show you how to show you based on this person who has this resume for this job by this job description. These are the gaps and these are the questions you want to ask at the interview. It's just fantastic. So now they have capacity that they didn't have before, right? And so this is the way I want you to think about it. I am going to use AI. I'm going to be at the forefront of using AI. I use very simple examples, but I'm going to use it in a profitable way. This is the decision I want you to make. I am going to use this in a profitable way. And so I am going to stay the visionary and AI is going to serve my vision. Okay. I'm going to get an ROA. I'm going to get a return on attention. It's going to help me do things faster. It's going to help me do things cheaper. It's going to give me capacity I did not have before. Like even our onboarding now is so ridiculously amazing and it's all AI leverage. So really in EntreMD Business School, for every core concept we teach them the concept, we teach them how to do the leveraged version. We teach them the concepts, we teach them how to do the leveraged version. Why? I don't want to be the reason why somebody got so distracted by AI that they lost years. They're entrepreneurs who are literally losing years because they've lost their way, right? Okay, so I want to invite you to decide. I'm going to live by these 5 laws. I am going to use AI. I'm going to leverage AI like heavily, but I'm going to leverage it in a profitable way, okay? Because I want you, right now I have 19 AI employees. Okay, so I have a company of 25 employees and 6 of them are humans and 19 of them are bots. Right? So I want you to be able to massively increase the impact you can have. I want you to massively upgrade your company because now you have capacity that you didn't have. I want you to buy back your time because you have all these things you can do faster. I want your profit margin to be better because you have all these things you can do cheaper, right? And I want you to die with a smile on your face because you did not give up being the visionary. You were going in the direction of the goals you had set anyway. And you can do that with the profitable use of AI. So go do it. And please share this episode with all the doctors in your world. They're either not using AI, they need to start, they're getting distracted by AI, they need to stop, or they're leveraging AI, they can get some ideas to use it even better. Okay. I am rooting for you, and we are going to win at this thing called physician entrepreneurship. This is the least you'll ever be. I'll see you on the next episode.